Welcome to Paper Pages and Possibilities. Today we are going to do a review of Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer. Not just the book, but also the movie. And then at the very end, I will show you a couple of new books that I have added to my physical TBR, and I'm excited to talk about all of it with you. Welcome back to Paper Pages and Possibilities. I am excited to have you here today, and definitely thrilled to be talking about a couple of books that I have really enjoyed, and it's really getting me into a interesting genre that I feel like I'm going to keep pursuing. So we are talking about Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer. This is a very mind-bending read. I enjoyed every minute of it. So the main premise of Annihilation is we have a place on the east coast of the US where all of a sudden there's a bubble that has formed. It's called, been labeled Area X. And Area X is expanding slowly but surely with no signs of stopping. So where we come into the story is we have a group of 4 women who are going on an expedition into Area X to understand its nature, and I think with the purpose of preventing it from taking over, because there is the sense that if this isn't stopped, it is going to take over the whole world. So in the book, we follow this expedition as they go in. It's got a lot of psychological twists and turns in it. We follow one character in particular, the biologist. We are looking at this from her viewpoint primarily. Once we get inside Area X, things are extremely strange. Like the picture kind of conveys it. You've got traditional creatures that have been changed. These creatures have evolved. And that evolution seems to include some sort of fungal entity. So they explore the area, they find a camp or a place to basically camp down, and the 4 of them basically do some exploring and come across a very strange situation. And what I get from this is that it's an alien story, like the story of an alien species coming to Earth and trying to find a way to survive and not be annihilated. This is kind of a description of how this alien species is learning to interact with the Earth environment and adapt to fit into the Earth environment, kind of merge with it, so not annihilating itself or annihilating the host species, but becoming a individual or becoming a symbiotic creation. It speaks about learning to interact with things that you're not familiar with and not see them as enemies, but as potentials to expand your understanding, and that each entity has its own right to survive as long as it's not impinging on the lives of the other species. It feels like it's a kind of an ecological discussion, talking about learning to, as humans, learning to be good caretakers of Earth, like being responsible and working with the environment and not just plowing it down, or not just letting it take over completely, but finding a way to mesh into a symbiotic type of relationship. That's kind of how I'm seeing this. So that's the gist that I got from the book. Now, the movie was very different. I feel like in the end it told a very different story. In the movie, we follow the same four people, four scientists that go into Area X, but it is tilted more toward ecological horror than ecological exploration. Like when this group gets into Area X, they encounter all sorts of weirdnesses, like alligator that's not acting like it should, looking horrific compared to what an alligator looks like. Same thing with other creatures. And you get the impression that it's the environment at war with humanity. So instead of trying to find some sort of symbiosis, the movie kind of portrays it as man against nature. And it doesn't seem to come out in favor of nature. In the movie, it has a much different focus. It's much more focused on government conspiracy, on alien. It treats it more like alien invasion rather than being a curiosity that the book seems to me to show. So, in all, I did enjoy both, but they told, in the end, very different stories. They had, I believe, similar outcomes, but different overtones. I am looking forward to reading the rest of the series. This is part of the Southern Reach series. So the rest of those are going up on my TBR. Looks like Authority and Acceptance, and I think there's a fourth one that has also come out. So that was the book that I read most recently. So for the haul, I have gotten 3 different books from 3 different sources, and I'm excited for each of them. So the very first one I got, actually just today, went to a used bookstore that has rapidly become my favorite because they seem to get in a really good variety of books regularly from trade-ins, and it's in the genres that interest me. So I find myself wanting to go there more and more often. But I did find one book that is currently on my TBR wish list, which is now going to be part of my physical TBR, and that is The Wishing Game, and that is by Meg Schaefer. So I'll read the back of the book on this one. Years ago, a reclusive mega best-selling author quit writing under mysterious circumstances. Suddenly, he resurfaces with a brand new book and a one-of-a-kind competition offering a prize that will change the winner's life. Lucy Hart knows better than anyone what it's like to grow up without parents who loved her. In a childhood marked by neglect and loneliness, Lucy found her solace in books, namely the Clock Island series by Jack Masterson. Now a 26-year-old teacher's aide, Lucy is able to share her love of reading with bright young students, especially 7-year-old orphan Christopher Lamb. Lucy would give anything to adopt Christopher, but even the idea of becoming a family seems like an impossible dream without proper funds and stability. Just when Lucy is about to give up, Jack Masterson announces he's finally written a new book. Even better, he's holding a contest at his home on the real Clock Island, and Lucy is one of the 4 lucky contestants chosen to compete to win the one and only copy. For Lucy, the chance of winning the most sought-after book in the world means everything to her and Christopher. But first, she must contend with the ruthless book collectors, wily opponents, and the distractingly handsome and grumpy Hugo Reese, the illustrator of the Clock Island books. Meanwhile, Jack, the mastermind, Masterson, is plotting the ultimate twist ending that can change all their lives forever. Sounds really good. There's 2 things that drew me to this book. One, that it's about more books. I love a book about books. But two, I heard someone else describe this book as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but for books. And that sounds really good too. So that is on my TBR now. The next book I got is actually my very first physical ARC that I've had in many, many years. And I got this from the Publishers Weekly. It was like a grab bag sort of event where you went in and you basically filled a virtual bag with as many titles as you wanted, with the hopes of getting them all. I don't think there was a promise of getting many or any of them, and it was just if the publishers decide they want to send one to you, you will get one. And I finally got one. And this one is Worth Fighting For. This is by Jesse Sutanto. And this is published by Hyperion. It's actually coming out in June of this year. And the reason why I picked this one for my grab bag is it is a retelling of Mulan. And that sounds fun. Disney seems to be involved in this. It's got a Disney copyright logo on the back. And apparently it's the cover art copyright is Disney. So I'm guessing they're pretty involved in this. So I will read the back here. On track to make partner at her father's hedge fund, Mulan has had to work twice as hard, be 3 times as smart, and have infinitely thicker skin than any of the finance bros she works with. And with her parents, who she fears always wanted a son, she's had to play the part of the perfect daughter. So when her father unexpectedly collapses in the middle of a critical acquisition, she promises she'll close the deal. There's just one problem. Wu Tai Gold, the small whiskey company known for its outsized macho branding, and the family who runs it refuses to do business with anyone other than her father, and certainly not a woman. So Mulan does the only sensible thing she can think of. She pretends to be him. The lie is easy enough over email, but then she's invited to spend a few days at the Lee family ranch and distillery. She knows how to close a business deal in her sleep, but pretending to be a seasoned rancher like her father, not so much. To make matters worse, Mulan must endure this humiliation in front of Shang, the company's stoic and scorchingly hot CEO. The more time she spends falling for Shang and his family, and not only in the mud, the more she wishes she could just be herself. But who is that really? Caught between family, business, and her own heart, how can she choose just one worth fighting for? So, it's a romance, it's got Disney, definitely something to look forward to. Right, last one that I got, I decided I was going to challenge myself this year in a very serious way. So I wanted something to dig my literary teeth into, something with a lot of depth, and something that was going to be a challenge. And I got War and Peace. So this is going to be a project for me this year. I decided to break it up. I think I did 50-page increments. So I broke it up into 50-page increments because I kind of set the daily goal for myself of 50 pages a day to kind of keep steadily reading. And breaking up into 50 pages, I believe it comes out to like 3 weeks worth. There's a total of, let's get, total of 1,215 pages in this edition. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. This is a book I want to take my time with because I really want to get as much out of it as possible because I feel like there is a lot to get out of it. So I don't know if I will make this like a whole video, but I'm thinking about doing it as a vlog, maybe like give an update every 100 pages or so with my thoughts. But that will come sometime later this year. I haven't decided when exactly, but you know, I felt ready for a challenge. So that is it for me today. Definitely appreciate you if you have stuck around this far. Thank you so much. I would love a like, and if you enjoy the content today, I would love it if you would subscribe and join this beautiful community. And then if you know of anyone else who might be interested in any of this bookish content, feel free to share. I do plan on another video coming up this Thursday. It will probably be another tag because I do have several to get through. So I will see you again soon. Take care.